Hello again. This is Math 2233 coming to you from the College of DuPage. And the title of this lecture is Midterm Musings, Scope, Parameters, and Other Notions. And we'll look back at the first half of the term and we'll look forward. First of all, I really want to stress that all student needs are being accommodated. But as you know, we have target times to take this. So Proctor should have contacted you about Zoom situation, and you should have contacted me if accommodation is necessary. Now, I'm not angry if you haven't done that, but if this hasn't happened, if not, let's fix that because this is really important and I'm spending a lot of my time on it. So realize all student needs are being accommodated, and if you don't have your stuff lined up, let's get it lined up. So this is the scope study guide, I guess, for the midterm. Now the blue things over here are part of our formal Calc 3 learning objectives. And so I think this is where we are, and we've done this much so far. So we need to know about using vector algebra to find equations of lines and planes, and use these tools to extract geometric information concerning curves and level surfaces in 3 space. We've talked about identifying and sketching surfaces in 3 dimensions using Cartesian. We did talk just a little bit about cylindrical, but cylindrical and spherical coordinates we're going to talk a lot more about in the future. But we've evaluated limits and found derivatives and integrals for vector valued functions. And we've used vector analysis to determine projectile motion and 3-dimensional trajectories. And I really like projectile motion problems. Those are word problems, applied problems. We've talked about evaluating limits and partial derivatives for functions of more than one variable. We've talked about the geometric meaning of partial derivatives, and we've talked about what it means for a multivariate function to be differentiable. We've talked about the total differential to approximate change and estimate error, and we've used the chain rule also with respect to multivariate functions. And we have evaluated directional derivatives and determined the equation of tangent planes. So those are things that we've done, and those are part of the scope for the midterm. We also looked back to Calc 2 and did a couple of things, talking about performing operations involving vectors in 2 and 3 dimensions. And we also talked about computing the dot product and cross product and use them in projections and other applications. So both the blue and the red are in scope, and I could ask questions about those. Now, during COVID, I have a strong bias to having computational problems with numerical answers. So that's certainly a bias. My plan for the midterm is to pose a dozen, that means 12 problems, and we have a nominal 2-hour time limit. And so if you take 120 minutes and 12 problems, that's 10 minutes on average per problem. That should be enough. There won't be any grace notes, and you can use scratch paper, and the exam will be emailed to you just prior to the exam, and it's emailed to your DuPage EDU email. You should not be using calculators that do symbolic integration, so I'm restricting things to using Excel or computer calculators that are on the computers, and those are 4-function scientific calculators. And you're certainly not supposed to be surfing the net, and the proctors are going to be watching you. And they will be giving you access to a password-protected answer sheet. And this answer sheet, as I mentioned before, is the primary grading instrument. For potential partial credit, you can upload a PDF after the exam, but there will be a time limit on that, but you can upload that pretty much immediately after the exam. So this is looking back, what have we done, and what is in scope, and a few of the rules. Now to come, these are the things that are in the formal Calc 3 objectives, and we're going to be doing that. We're going to be doing more with the gradient vector, and so on and so forth. And also, we have plenty of things that we can do in the book if we finish these things early. My plan is to do some of these things. Now, this is all future, and some of these second half videos though may be appearing soon, but you don't have to worry about these for the midterm. The midterm is what we talked about before, but that does include calculations of gradients and directional derivatives and things like that. Okay, so in closing, now more than ever, time is precious. Each day must count. Do the math. It will make you strong. And now more than ever, take care of yourself and of each other. May God bless you all.